and welcome to Dr. Max 7 Greatest Moments in Synthesizer History! Kindly sponsored by UVI, the makers of Synth Anthology 4, a collection of 200 incredible hardware synthesizers in one plugin. And this. UVI's Synth Anthology 4 delivers the authentic sound of 200 synthesizers, from vintage to modern hardware of all decades, in a feature-packed software instrument. And version 4 has a new engine, more synths, more presets, more arpeggiation, and more effects. I know, it's really good. Check the link in the description. And now, number 7, The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951. This is a visionary movie where Earth gets visited by aliens. Hollywood composer Bernard Herrmann decided to use the theremin for the soundtrack to evoke suspense in a futuristic way. This early synthesizer had already been used in movies before, but this film is the moment in cinematography that really captured everyone's imagination and forever linked space with the sound of the synthesizer. Bit Jeremy Clarkson on that one. Yeah. I have a theremin and I'm gonna play it for you right now! This is the theremin and it has two antennas which are sensitive to proximity and touch. Let me demonstrate. This controls the amplitude. This controls the pitch. So you can do that phantom sort of spooky sound like this. But if you're really, really cool and calm and you have the right position, you can even play melodies. I'll try. Number 6, Wendy Carlos switched on Bach, 1968. This was the first classical music album played entirely on a Moog synthesizer. Wendy Carlos is an absolute pioneer in electronic music, somebody who really had an intimate understanding of sound design.
First of all, here's a sawtooth wave that's coming out of an oscillator. It's a very low sound. If I manually turn this knob, you'll listen to the sound get considerably duller. I can do it automatically with what's called an envelope generator. And that can be speeded up till we almost start hearing a plucked string. If we turn that around and make it open up instead of closing, it does this. Has almost a trumpet-like quality or trombone quality in this range.
The album Switched on Bach revolutionized how synthesizers were perceived and showcased the potential for creating really serious music. Stanley Kubrick was immediately hooked to that album and decided to enlist Wendy Carlos to compose the soundtrack of A Clockwork Orange. Well chosen. Switched on Bach was the synthesizer album of that decade. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. Next! Number 5, Pink Floyd, On the Run, 1973. Straight out of the rock odyssey, The Dark Side of the Moon, On the Run begins with the iconic obsessive synthesizer ostinato played by Roger Waters on an EMS Synthi AKS. This was a portable modular analog synthesizer made by a tiny company in London, Electronic Music Studios, EMS. Just a handful of these remarkable synthesizers were ever made, contributing to the mystique of that defining moment at Abbey Road when the synthesizer made its grand entrance into the world of rock and roll. Next! Wait! You forgot to subscribe to this channel! I'll drink this tomato juice while you do it. Done it? Next! Up to that decade, the synthesizer had already been eerie, eccentric, experimental, powerful. But now it was gonna become epic. Enter number 4, Vangelis, Blade Runner soundtrack, 1982. Just 2 minutes into the movie and we get catapulted into the future. For this majestic and solemn moment, Vangelis wisely chose Yamaha's monster synthesizer, the CS80. This beast is capable of very complex textures thanks to its touch-sensitive keyboard, aftertouch, and ribbon control. Together with its dual 8-voice architecture and an ocean of wires, the stars really seem to be aligned for one of the most memorable moments in synthesizer history. Next. Number 3, Daft Punk, The Funk, 1995. Roaring from France, masked duo Daft Punk came with an obsessive, rude, in-your-face synthesizer riff that dominated the electronic music scene of that decade. Their weapon of choice? The small but mighty MS-20 monophonic analog synthesizer. This synth was famous for its aggressive filters and semi-modular design that allowed it to do this. Let's turn up oscillator 1, right? And then I put it as a pulse wave, and then I am going to add the second oscillator. So we got this plus that. Yeah, something like that. And then we're gonna use the low pass filter. See, it's got this peak, which sounds pretty cool, right? So we keep it around there. And then we also use a little bit of low pass. Okay? And then finally, we start adding some modulation from this ADSR. Yeah? And then we add a little bit of attack, bit of decay, a little bit of release, and then we try and make it ring. Our job isn't finished because now we're going to take the output, pass it through this external processing unit, which will give us just a little bit more distortion. I think I got it. By the way, if you want to learn to do what I do, you can check out my Music Producer Gold Guide, where I explain synthesizers, music theory, music production, and a ton more. And I'll give you 25% off right now. Check out the link in the description. Next! Number 2, Usher, Yeah, 2004. This innovative combination of R&B, hip-hop and electronic music won a Grammy Award, went platinum, and with its hypnotic, inescapable 3-note riff propelled synthesizer power into the new millennium. The sound is reminiscent of 90s rave music, and it can be recreated with just a few moves. Take 2 sawtooth oscillators and detune them. Add a bit of portamento, add a bit of reverb, et voila! Next! And last! Number 1, Skrillex, Rock and Roll, 2011. Hysterical, turbulent, exhilarating, shadowy. Dubstep originated in South London in the late 90s, but it reached its peak popularity in the 2010s. Skrillex's rock and roll embodies the art of treating and chopping synthesizer sounds. I like to imitate its sound like this. Take a few gritty FM sounds like this one, and this one. And now play them on a sampler. Voila! And what about the current decade, the 20s? Has the synthesizer sound of the future been found yet? Or is it yet to be invented? Let me know in the comments. I love you. Boom!